This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just
Cheers,
being
guys.
a freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast, brought to you by Half Rack. Half-rack.com. Use code OHP. Save 15% off. You can go to half-rack.com/OHP, and I think the discount's automatically applied, but don't hold me to that because I'm probably wrong. But if you need accessories, I will tell you what, I'm going to be going turkey hunting at some point again this year. I'm going to try it out again. And I'm really proud of the bucket I'm going to get from those guys with the swivel top. And I'm just going to be sitting and spinning, calling gobblers. Meow, 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 meow. And circle sound, surround sound for your gobbler.
That's going to be awkward.
Sit and spin.
Sit and spin.
They have a lot of good accessories. They do have like a normal, like a tripod stool. So I could probably do that and then I'll just be more stationary. But if I have a swivel seat, I'm going to spin. I'm just going to, it's like a kid on a doctor thing. You got to kick your legs.
It's impossible not to.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. That but yeah, they have I would say they're like a hunting accessory company with a soul. A lot of people will a lot of brands will make hunting accessories, but it's just like a bolt on and it's an afterthought and it's not giving any like love or TLC.
Sure.
But these guys are trying to apply like actual innovation to hunting accessories and give it a brand that's worth something. So that's our presenting sponsor.
Fine gear, fun memories.
That's it. Oh, you sound crisp. Wow, can you do that voice again?
What voice?
Oh, now it's gone.
It's my
It only works when he does
Take another drink. Take another drink.
Hold on. It's in the cup. Hold on a second.
I'll usually do like
Fine
this huge
gear, fun memories.
Yeah,
there you go.
I usually do this big diatribe about all the partners, but I'll just rattle off the names for now for this week so we can get into it because I think we have enough people that return and listen. You're familiar with our brands that we work with. If you see our stuff, you see our partners. But Latitude Outdoors, Spartan Forge, Method Archery, which is formerly Vector Custom Shop, and Go Wild. So use code OHP at all of those, and you're going to save some money. And if you have questions about those brands, reach out to us. I know a lot of folks do. Hey, how do I get what saddles
Those
the one I like?
Latitude, their new sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game changer,
That's
right?
that's
I
why
hate that term, but
I know. It's why I'm like, but it's real.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
I usually I feel like a lot of products sometimes tend to just be a rehash. Like you said, like that's nothing really meaningful.
the climbing stick's been around for
Exactly.
how long?
Like how much can you read? But oh no, you can. Excellent job. They did a good
Change the material.
job. So it's
Change
cool stuff.
material, the form factors. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Also, rattling antlers.
That was my big takeaway
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, they make noise, but I'm like, well, they don't make metal noise; they make rattling antler noise,
Yeah.
and
Which
you can
is
still
a huge
silence
difference.
That's what you were saying.
them. So that's
Stole
like,
the show at ATA this year, right?
what's
Yeah.
that? They
stole
did,
the
yeah.
show.
They
Yes,
won
they
the
did.
best
Right?
product. So that can't be easy to do. There's a lot of companies
Yeah.
bringing things to market there. That is like the go to market launch. People will keep. It's like Apple. Like you never know what they're doing until they launch it. That's ATA. It's like you don't know what people are doing until you get there.
See, the bow hunting world has that, and like I'm a lot in the fishing world. I feel it's become split there. You've either got the Classic Expo or you've got iPast. So it's like which one do you want to get more excited about? Because like most are iCast, but there's a few that are like, yeah, we're going to jump the game and we're going to do this at the Classic Expo. So
But people keep moving things up to like create demand. It's like
Right.
why retailers like launch Christmas stuff. It's like they're racing to see who's gonna, it's like freaking September. And we're talking about Christmas because they want to get the jump on
Right.
selling stuff.
or here's our product, but it's not available for 6 to 8 months.
Right.
Yeah, there's that
Like,
too.
So
Come
to
on,
get you interested,
right.
and the
You
little
gotta
kid
build
in
up
you
the
just
hype.
keeps, oh, what's going on? When's this available?
Show
When
me.
can I get it? Can I see it? Can I see the bottom of it? Can I see the back? Can I see the ugly side of it? I don't care. I would just want to see it.
But they will. They'll do the teaser, really high def, like black photos. It's just really, that was a really weird sound. You got all the noises today.
It sounded like it fit though. It was like you were going to a flashback. So it was like the record rewind.
Here, let's scratch this Scotch glass against the microphone again. I can't do it. See? Can't replicate
It's a
that.
one-time thing.
It was a one-time deal.
Yeah,
Oh boy. So we have some folks in the studio with us.
it's gonna be fun.
Erik Tasker, Shaun Ritter. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? And maybe we can talk about how we met and how he ended up here.
So we do a podcast ourselves, an outdoor show. We're all based in Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin. And I actually work in radio here in country radio, host a morning show. But another one of my side projects I worked on is we do this outdoor show that's on our like sports station on the FM dial. So Saturday mornings we do the sports show. We also do it into a long form podcast. So that's where I hook up with Erik Tasker, who's one of our account executives, one of the co-hosts on the show. And then, we're always looking for fun, interesting people to be a part of our show. And that's when we reach out to you guys. We're like, hey, you guys are doing something.
Yeah,
cool.
you guys had Dan Matthews on with
Yes.
the Nomadic Outdoorsman. I think that's where the connection came from.
Yeah, we were Dan, and then we did a crisscross with Dan. So we were all on Dan. So typically our show is myself, Erik Tasker, and Paul Wagner, who is an ex-major leaguer, ex-Milwaukee Brewer from Germantown.
Okay.
Wags being a busy guy, he's in and out, so it's kind of the rotating cast. So it's like I'm for sure the one that's always there.
Yeah.
As kind of the
staple,
the guy that's working the strings or whatever you want to call it, the puppet master of sorts. But no, we have a lot of fun. Like I said, we looked at you guys who were always looking for fun, interesting people to talk about that have an interesting angle about things. And social media is one of the biggest things we got into. Where we reach out to you guys because it was cool what you were doing and the whole like not buck shaming and all that stuff. And like we talk a lot on our show even about how social media has changed the outdoors. Like we're not experts by any means. Tasker's
we
way
like
more
it that way.
Yeah, he's way more the hunting guy. I'm definitely fishing. Like fishing is where I'm a kayak angler, all that stuff. I've been fishing since I was like, could put a rod in my hand. But still not an expert. So we just like kind of tell the stories, and the whole concept of our show, Tailgate Talk, is just BSing around the tailgate or dock talk. It's just hanging around family and friends, telling stories, shooting the bull, laughing, and there's always little tidbits of some sort of nugget of something that comes from that. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves on our show being, is we're not trying to be experts, but I hope you take something away from our conversation. Like, oh, I remember that. So the social media stuff with you guys, we wanted that to be something that was brought into the conversation.
Sure.
It's changing the way that people approach the outdoors. So
that's it.
Yeah. And then, when we started this whole thing, what was it? Almost 2 years ago,
over 2 years. Yeah.
It was kind of like, I'm going to just jump on every once in a while. I'm terrified to do this.
Yep.
I'm not really sure what to say. I don't know what to do with my hands. And now all of a sudden it's a very, normal routine thing. And, we try and make it work every week. And, like last week, it was just kind of chaos. And we did a little recap from stories that seem to always be relevant of the last 2 or 3 years. And, it's amazing how we were going to call it like the more things change, the more they say the same or whatever, something like that.
And I've heard that kind of thing before. Yeah.
It's funny because I actually went back to shows that we had done around this time of year the last 2 years and was listening back to some of the stuff. And I'm like, it's still relevant right now and really fitting. And this, like the timing of stuff that's talked about and just some of the content, like I'm like, oh, this is like a great, perfect, we were gone for 2 weeks in Cabo. So for a week in Cabo. So before we left, we actually did 2 shows before we took off.
Mm-hmm.
So those 2 were the weekend we were gone, the weekend we were coming back. And then it was last week. It's like, oh, we got to get a show in for the week. And like, things got busy. Every time you come back, like anyone that knows, if you work a normal job, right, and you go away for every week, you're away of like 3 weeks to work to do when you come back.
Oh yeah, you have to dig it's like you shouldn't even do it because you're going to be screwed on the back end. It's like bend over, right?
Yeah, that's where we were last week, and I was like, I'm going to put something sit, spin, bend over.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so, it's nice because Ritter, obviously he said that, he's more of the fishing guy, and I always try and bring him back to reality and talk about hunting. And, we've had some great stories, Ritter so we work with a local archery shop, and Ritter just picked up a bow. I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah. I'm coming up in 3 years. No, 2020. I got my bow in 2020, but I didn't actually start bow hunting until 2021.
Yeah, so it's been nice because it's kind of, I've been doing it consistently for years now. And then to have him come back into it, it's been nice just to get out and shoot a couple times or do a 3D course or whatever, and try and bring him into my side of life. And then he's like, we're going ice fishing. And I'm like, I don't want to go ice fishing. He's like, we're going
you
ice
have
fishing.
to now. Yeah.
So that's what we did for the 100th show of our show, was we actually went ice fishing, and immediately after, the plan was we were gonna record on the ice. Didn't think through power situations, so we fished for like 4 hours, then went back to the launch and set everything up on the tailgate of my truck. So it was fitting that a show named Tailgate Talk
actually
was
happened.
Finally recorded on the tailgate of my truck, with my truck powering everything. And so Erik Tasker, when ice fished the first time, it was.
Did you guys catch anything other than a buzz?
Yeah. And my first fish of the year was caught on that trip, and it was a bass.
There you
Go
go.
figure.
Yeah.
But thanks to our friend John Resnick with Clam Pro Tackle, him and I kind of put the whole trip thing together, and so it's always fun when you have a pro basically to help get it together.
Yeah, I didn't have to bring anything. I just showed up after they were all set up.
Sounds like the podcast.
So, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
I'm just here, guys.
Yeah,
Do your
here
thing.
I am.
It's the red carpet treatment. I want that life. Just show up.
I like the greeting coming here tonight, by the way. Is that the greeting everyone gets that comes in?
Yeah, my wife's on her way out with our 3 kids to go to grandma's house for
The
podcast
kid
night.
parade.
And they're like, hi,
And I'm like,
hi.
Yeah, and I try to do my best to get this all fired up because there's a lot of buttons and knobs, and to turn to get these cameras, all this stuff. So then half the time I'm down here freaking out because something isn't working, and Greg's like the greeter. So you got both of us tonight. My wife called. She's like, I think they're here. You can come up or what? I was like, oh yeah, I guess I can come up. So
Still in the basement.
yeah.
It doesn't seem creepy at all.
No,
Just go to the basement.
He's like, I think I got the right house.
Mom's basement. It's fine.
No, I'm glad you guys made it out here. I wish I could have made it to the actual iHeart studio because that's you guys have legitimate professional grade equipment. And maybe you don't. I think you do.
It's professional.
It feels
we do,
different.
but I'm the person that's like, when you work with it every day, you're like, it's normal what I do every day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably hook
one
something up at
mic's
some
probably
point in
worth more than our whole room,
It might be. At least 2 of them probably.
that's pretty cool. So you guys
are
get to
welcome to come whenever you want.
Yeah,
Tour
we
the
should.
Studios, do another show.
Well, it sounds like fishing guy over here and fishing guy over here might want to do some
we'll
fishing
just
stuff.
do our own thing.
Yeah. And by the way, we're really oddly coordinated tonight. I don't know you guys
we
and
didn't
us.
really plan this.
Yeah, there was
This
no
whole
I'm looking here.
conversation
Look at this. It looks like
I know. It's even better on this stream.
what the heck is going on? So I don't have a topic tonight other than I figured you guys mentioned, stories are captivating and that's kind of what emerges out of what y'all do. And I don't know, I've shared my buck story more than I care to share at this point. I'm not going to do it again.
Which that is still when I saw that you got that deer, I was so incredibly excited for you.
Well, thank you. I was excited for me too.
Yeah.
Because of just everything. And it's, then I kind of the laugh is like, well, you can't really be okayest hunter or anything anymore. Kind of above average at this point.
Yeah, above average could be a theme, but
Trust me.
The
moments leading up to this, I'm getting video text of a doe running, panting its ass off. Clearly it's being chased. And then I get a video of him. Oh shit, there's a buck. Oh, it's a big buck. Gotta go. Okay, way to leave us hanging. So great. Awesome. But
I think that mine was my message because I always do like a rutcation where it's always Halloween weekend, whatever that is, leading through that whole first week of November. And when we went up this year, we got up there early on that Friday, the 28th, and we were like, all right, we're just going to get everything set up. We're up in the Eau Claire County area, public land. And so we just set everything up. We're like, all right, we're going to be ready to roll the next day. And I was just shocked that it happened on the second day we were out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen any deer all day. And here it is. It's 5:30. It's 5:15, sunset, darkness is 6 o'clock. So I'm thinking I'm going to rattle one more time before it gets to be too late. Because otherwise then, it's 5:45. I mean, what are you going to do when a deer walks out 10 minutes before, it's dark? I mean, you're not going to take that shot then. So
nice seeing you.
Yeah, right. So, all I know leading up to the shot was I saw a huge rack and a huge deer. And I was like, I don't care what it is. I'm going to shoot this deer. If it walks anywhere near me, I'm going to shoot this deer. And I don't know. We run trail cameras and everything. And I don't even know if it was one of the deer that we saw this year or not.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it, walks kind of right on one of the edges, and I'm ranging. And I'm like, I've got 35 and I've got a 42 spot that I can see. So I've got Ritter and I both shoot the same site. It's got a fixed pin and a floating pin. And my floating was at 40 and I knew it was inside of 40. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to make this slight adjustment because I can't make the change now. So it comes out and I have a 1 foot clearing. I'm like, well, this is it. I'm either shooting the son of a bitch or I'm not. So I was just very fortunate to make an amazing shot. I text him and a couple other buddies. I said, I sent an arrow. I made a good shot. don't ask me any other questions. I was like,
and I don't know if it was a picture you sent of the arrow bloody to me, or it was the FaceTime afterwards. It was the next thing that I got.
Well,
from you.
yeah, I honestly, it's still kind of.
I remember I was in my backyard shooting my bow because I pushed my rutcation week a week later because I just got back from my son turned 5, so we took him to Disney from so it was
It's a fun trip.
October 20th or October 25th is his birthday. So I didn't want to be gone for a week and then be gone for a whole other week hunting. So I had to at least work a week in between. So yeah, with the week
I like how you put work in air quotes
yeah, and so my dad doesn't hunt that far away from where we're very close to one another in the woods, maybe 150 or 200 yards away from one another, and we can swear on this podcast. Right?
You can swear. I can beep it out, but no, okay. You can swear.
It's the internet.
Yeah. So I knew that I made a really good shot. It was just, I knew it was a perfect shot, and I was so relieved because last 2 years I've shot bucks and I have not found them.
Ouch.
And which is just so painful.
It's very painful.
And it just is, it's so unsettling because that's exactly what you don't want to do. And when you ride that really high and come down to a low of just giving up, it's the worst. So just a really loud smack. And I scream, "Fuck yeah!" And my dad. So
I think everyone that has ever done that has probably said that exact same thing.
So my dad shouts back at me, "What happened?" And I'm like, "I just fucking shot him." So he gets over to where we are, and I'm still getting out of the tree stand because he just hunts out of a ground blind for bow season. I'm like, "All right, let's find the arrow. Let's do all of that. Let's just start walking the trail." It's 5:40 at this point. I thought I heard something crash. I'm like, all right, we're just going to go through the paces here. It's getting late. So let's either try and look for it now, or we're going to just call it a night and we're going to go back to camp. Because the last thing I want to do last year, I knew there were 2 or 3 different beds that I actually kicked the deer up because we just looked too soon and it, ended up running away. And so we get on the trail, we've got great blood, and this was my first year ever shooting an expandable. So I'm like, I just was very nervous about the whole thing. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make this transition and I'm just going to pray that everything works out. Cause you always hear, somebody, shoots an expandable and then it doesn't expand and it, fails, whatever. So great blood, get on the arrow. We're walking through and we're maybe 50 yards after where I hit the deer. And I turn around. I see my dad is basically walking right on the blood trail. And as I turn around, I'm like, of course, tensions are high. I'm freaking out. I'm like, get off the blood trail. And as I shouted at him, I thought I heard something scatter behind us. So I'm like, we're not doing this again. We're going to get out. Whether there's wolves here or coyotes or whatever, we're just going to get out. We're going to come back in the morning. It's cool enough overnight. We're going to be all right. So then I FaceTime him and I'm sobbing because I'm I finally did it. I finally did it.
But it's awesome. The pure emotion of that. And I remember you had posted something.
I think you shared that
on your TikTok and some guy was giving you a hard time about that. And it's you know what? Screw you, dude. It's okay to be excited. It's okay to sob. You know what I mean? When you win a trophy, you win something
guys get in the end zone, they cry.
Showing emotion shows.
Look at the national anthem
about it. If you got no emotion, then why are you doing it?
Did we watch the Super Bowl and see the national anthem?
Right. It's okay to be emotional. I don't know where this toxic masculinity of it's not okay for a guy to cry, to be excited, to show any emotion.
Just it's not okay to shoot small bucks.
Right? Yeah, valid point.
Shoot what you want to shoot. Cry if you want to cry.
So we
That's
go back
the next shirt. Cry if you want to cry.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
So we go back to camp, and I drank a lot that night because I was like, I think this is
just that
turn
night.
Out good. Well, I drank a lot that week. We get back to camp, go out, whatever. We're getting ready to go back out in the next morning, and it's 8:30 or 8:45. My dad's like, "Are you ever going to get out of bed?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm really hungover, so if it's dead, it's not going anywhere." Right. So we're going to go find it when we find it. So we go out and it wasn't 25 yards past where we stopped looking, just up against a tree. And it was just the coolest experience. Cause so 2021, my dad shot his first ever deer after 47 years bow hunting. So he had
That's a big deal.
Never shot a deer, and he actually shot a buck. It was like a 5-pointer, whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Nothing special. It was amazing though.
Was it the fact? I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Was it the fact that he just didn't have opportunities, or was he being super picky?
Not picky at all. Just where they've hunted. I think they've gun hunted very hard. So he shot many bucks gun hunting.
Sure.
It just happened to be with archery that he had never done that.
Gotcha.
And for many years, he worked in a foundry his whole life. So he had a bad shoulder and he just never invested in a crossbow and never went through the whole paperwork and everything to be able to do that. And so a couple of years ago, he did actually get a crossbow, and, just fortunate that it finally happened. He's 68 or 69 years old. So, it's like, who knows how much longer we have to be able to get out there and actually do all of these things. So that was really cool the year before. And then this year, the biggest buck that our family has ever shot. And it was just, like you said, like cry if you want to cry or whatever. It was the best cry of my life because, after 2 years, you think about that, just how much emotion goes into that of thinking you made a good shot, tracking for an hour, hours, or however long it takes, and then just giving up. And then being able to finally make that happen and with such a great deer, it's just such a relief. And it was like, I could just cry for like days. So we just went to the bar and it was amazing. It was just so cool to be able to share that. And and that was the video that I posted on my TikTok, which I actually posted the extended version the first time, which then I got my first account warning of that week. And then I had to post the shorter version after that. And how
many violations have you had, by the way?
I think 4. So I've been very, very careful about what I've posted.
I've only had the
you
one.
Can pace them. You can spread them out.
Yeah. So that's what I don't know how long it's going to take to get the account warning off.
I only ever had the one. It was the one guy that just didn't like what I had to say. He had to make a crappy comment to me. So I responded. And then his first reaction with my response, which was actually not terrible, was just report it. And I'm like, bro, don't come with the heat if you can't take a little bit of the wave in the fan back.
So, that was, what a cool memory to be able to, for anybody that hunts with their family.
Yeah.
What a great experience and a memory to be able to have. And I'm just, super cool that it was a great deer, but, to be able to have my dad there and for us to be able to drag it out together and everything. And actually, one of our trail cameras was right on the path where we were walking out. And we have a picture of me and my dad dragging the deer out, which is like just something that I'll always remember.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So great. just, you never know when something like that might happen. And to be able to share that memory with your hunting buddy, just.
Well, that's what you remove the antlers or the horns, as we call them, to be funny and facetious, and people think we're stupid, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But if you take that out of the equation, the memory is the same.
Absolutely.
It's funny because that one I thought was a lot smaller. I didn't even know it was big.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a dinky 6-pointer for some reason.
Yeah.
And we walked up and it just happened to be a bigger deer, but so it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It was bigger. I was still flabbergasted.
And is this the one you had to tread through water for?
Twice.
Oh,
because Mr. Guy over here forgot to turn the camera on.
He's like, so
and my legs were numb.
I told you
and my feet
the first
were
minutes of
freezing.
the year I did not get on camera because I hit the wrong button.
Yeah,
I did the same thing with
you. You're having some issues with buttons on your cameras. You get
I hate
that GoPro
camera.
Couldn't get turned on. That was a different issue.
That one we got figured out. That's don't run it on a 30-watt charger. It'll fry the battery.
He's a hell of a sound effects guy, though. He makes sound effects on the fly.
Someone's got to have a talent.
I usually try to get him to do like his
a voice for a boys choir, and I can make noise.
Did you guys watch the first episode of We'll See How It Goes?
I have not got around to it yet.
Did you hear him doing turkey calls right out of the gate with his mouth?
Yeah. So that was just.
I can do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we're getting into a different territory.
We're going to the zoo. We're off to the zoo
it
now.
It started good and then went, no.
You put a little too much feel into it.
What do you call a female turkey?
You're digging from down here. You only got to go from up here.
I was really trying to be, really.
Can you do the owl call like this guy can too for the shot gobble? I love it when you do the owl call. You guys are both pretty
He's
good.
getting
Wow.
there.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm not gonna try.
He's
It's
embarrassed
embarrassing.
by
The Eriks over here.
Yeah, Erics are embarrassed.
I have real calls
They can't
somewhere.
hang with us.
No.
Oh, that's good.
I
Speaking of turkey, by the way, I'll just put up because I like to at least acknowledge people here. But Joseph said, "What's up, guys? Can't wait for turkey season." And then Missy followed up with, "Are you guys going to NWTF?" Which I'm not.
Ooh.
I know a lot of people from work are going to be at that.
I'm so bummed that I will not be able to turkey hunt this year. It's also the first year that I didn't get any of the weeks that I applied for. I got D, and I've got a tournament that weekend. So I could possibly hunt Wednesday, Thursday, and then maybe Tuesday. But I got a regular job. I've got a wife, child. I'm already going to be going on going to, I think that's the one I'm in Lake Springfield. So I'm already going to Springfield, Illinois for a whole weekend. So I'm just I guess turkey hunting's just not in the cards for me this year. But unless I will go out with,
I need you to guide and
go
call
with Tasker.
me,
I can call and do all those things.
do all that stuff.
So me myself, I will not have a chance to shoot a turkey this year.
I hope I do. I don't know what I'll end up with. I don't have a tag. I didn't apply for anything, so I'll get some.
I just go grab over
leftovers.
the counter.
It only took 5 reminders and he still forgot.
No tag, you're hunt. You know,
See, the turkey,
Right?
and the bear go at the same time. It's December 3rd. I always think by December 3rd, you're good.
yeah.
Are you doing? Do you do bear hunting too?
I keep putting in for my points to accumulate. So eventually, once I get enough, I will.
There's a few zones that you don't need much for, and I'm gonna look at the regulations and see what's going on with it. But I might apply for one next year.
I'm at 5.
So I'll be at 5. I think I'm at 5, and I'll be at 6 if I keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, we were talking about bow hunting. Tasker's story. I had an okayest moment.
Oh yeah. Let's hear
myself
it.
this year.
We can bump up the. I got a bumper here for this. Which one is it, Greg? Is it the yellow one?
I don't know.
Okayest hunter.
There we go.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be groovy, sexy music. Or
we
something.
can get some. We can. Let's hear the story. Let's hear the.
All
You know.
right. Nice.
Cheers,
a little
real
hard.
quick here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little. Shout out to Drop Time Spirits
Here we go.
and whatever else we're drinking over here.
There's not much left in there.
Yeah, the drop time is flowing for me.
So we're talking about hunting public lands. Real quick refresh in my story too is when my wife and I found out that we were expecting. I walked away from everything. So for the first 3 years of my child's life, I didn't hunt, I didn't fish.
Good for you. I couldn't pull that off.
Because I just wanted to
My
enjoy
wife
that
better
time.
not listen to this because she'll reference it and be like, "See, that's what he did." I'm like, "Yeah, well, we're not the same person."
Yeah, we're all
So
different.
she better not.
Some of us are better than others. No.
Clearly. Then there's those guys too. Those guys that will their wives are pregnant, and I think this is actually my buddy Tyler who runs the business with me. That's like, well, my wife's pregnant, so I'm not drinking for 9 months. I'm like,
Yeah, why would you?
quit making me look bad,
Yeah.
dude. I need a drink.
I didn't eat sushi the whole time my wife was pregnant. That was the one. That was the
I
one. that
haven't
made
ate
sacrifice.
sushi in 10 years. I think I'd have been handling that one just
Yeah.
fine. I could just bolt onto that one next time.
All right, so I wasn't trying to score points. Let's get to things. So it's already getting bow hunting. I was huge into waterfall hunting growing up. Growing up in Green Bay, done a ton of diver hunting. Layout
Okay.
boats, all that stuff.
It's a lot of fun.
That's my background comes from. I still love that stuff, but again, moving down here, it was different, and not having all my old buddies. I walked away. But I still always loved fishing and knowing stuff. But when I finally got the bow, I'm like, okay, I'm really going to get into archery hunting because I feel like I can get into this. Gun hunting just isn't my thing. Not that it's good or bad, but just it's not my thing. I like the intimacy of archery hunting.
Yep.
I feel like my fishing background has helped me and advanced a lot of things because Tasker knows the public land that I hunt pretty much a lot and knows how many times I'm out.
Are you public land up in Green Bay area then?
Public land down here.
Down here now. Okay.
Southeastern Wisconsin. And I encounter a lot of deer. There was 2 mornings I was out this year that I didn't see anything. I've been in and around a lot of deer.
Sounds like that quote from Superbad. I'm sorry.
Right. and I'm lucky and grateful for that. It's just, it hasn't worked out with, the right shot. And we had a situation opening day.
Yeah.
It was 9:30 in the morning. I get a doe that walked out. And I said, both of us, we were hunting the same area opening day. And we're like, if it's brown, it's down. We're shooting does. Let's just get one in the freezer and be done with it. I was futzing with something with my GoPro. And again, trying to run it off a battery. The battery died. I'm going to change the battery. I've got it strapped up on a tree. And I reach back and I go to pull it down. And I pull it down, I pull the battery, go to grab another battery out of my bag. And I put the battery in my mouth. And I turn over and look. And there's a doe standing there 20 yards. And I'm like, that's it. So I'm slowly trying to move, pull it rangefinder, range. I'm like, 21. Okay. Slowly grab my bow. Pull up. Mind you, I've still got a GoPro battery in my mouth. And I go to like lean, I'm looking, I'm like, I got it. And I just wanted a little bit more move because she took one step. And I go to move and I have to do this. Elbow hits the tree. Hit the release.
Or the mouth.
Right over the top of the deer.
Ouch.
But when I saw the arrow leave, I
You're
saw
like, I
it,
wasn't ready for that.
right, going right towards his rear end. And I'm like, no. And it just went over. I was like, oh, thank God. I've never been more relieved to miss something in my entire life.
Yeah,
Because I was not looking forward to that track.
It's way better to miss than it is to make a poor shot.
Absolutely. And then it was almost a week to the day from when he killed his. I was out in the same public land. I made a move to a different area because I knew there was some other... I like to work off of other hunters' pressure. Knowing where people are going to be and knowing that that's going to move things certain ways. And so I got set up in an area that I have never actually hunted. That I've been through, scouted, have seen. There's a lot of stuff there. It's not too far from the area where you typically are a lot on this piece of public. And I'm in the tree like an hour before shooting light. So I get up there and I'm sitting there and like just as it's getting close to shooting light, I hear something coming up the ridge and you hear I'm like, okay, that's definitely something sniffing. Okay. Walks off a little while and then it gets to be about 6:30-ish. A doe comes walking in, walks right in front of me. This is where okayest moments again continue for me this season. She's at about 12 yards. I'm like, I can shoot a doe and still shoot a buck later today. It's happened many times. So I pull up. I'm perfect nail shot. I shoot. And I'm like, I said to myself, laced her. Because she stood there and the arrow was right where she was. I could see my knock lit. It's right below her. And I'm like, total pass through. Perfect right there. She seems stunned. And then she took a step away. Bounce, looks back at me. And I'm like, what in the holy crap? And I'm trying to range her. I'm like, there's no blood. What is going on? She runs out to 60 yards and is standing there trying to pick me up. Where? What? And then she starts blowing at me. And I'm like, can't do anything about it. I look down. There was one little branch of like a tree that fell down that late. I must have because like a fresh, like wet wood is like a dark brown. Mm-hmm. But if you scratch it, it turns like the color of this table. Mm-hmm. There was one little line in that piece of wood like that. I had to have just lightly nicked it and caused my arrow to immediately turn straight down and just missed it. I'm like, could I get any more unlucky this year? This is horrible. 15 minutes.
You could.
Way to spoil the story. 15 minutes go by and I'm sitting there and I see this coyote running across and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I see something large with its nose in the ground. And I'm like, no, that's not. Yeah, that's got to be. So I pull up my rangefinder and was it Mark Boardman of Vortex we were talking about this? I think it was because we had Mark on our show and we were talking about, he was saying the same thing. A lot of times he'll just use his rangefinder as like a monocular.
And
it's so
because there's a little bit of magnification. It pulls in enough light. Yeah, you can see things out to 50 yards. No problem.
The Vortex rangefinder and all that stuff. So I'm pulling, I'm like, yep, that's a buck. And I'm like, okay, that's shootable. And I don't know what it was before that. I had decided to take my grunt call, and I never use calls. But I just started bringing one with me just in case, because last year I had a situation where a grunt call I think could have given me a shot at a monster. But I tucked it into like my jacket in a weird way. And he gets out towards this ridge where before shooting light, those deer came up. And I saw him turn like he was going to go down. And I just leaned down and I go brr, brr, into my jacket. Spins on a dime. He caught the trail that the doe that ran away that I missed, followed her trail right. And I'm like ranging. I'm like, dude. Once he got in 20, I'm like, I don't need this anymore. Dropped it. Waited behind. Pulled him, set, wait. He gave me what I thought was a perfect shot. It was probably 8 yards, but I'm 20 foot in a tree. This is where I've learned the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear still to this day, it was a perfect, would be lung, liver shot. I hit the deer, loud crash. The deer jumps and takes off, but I still see arrow sticking out of it. And that's when I begin to panic. It runs, catches a tree, breaks the arrow off on a tree, which spins the deer. He then shoots up a hill and up a ridge. And I'm like, okay, maybe he'll go lay down and there's like some CRP that's up in the air. Maybe he's going to go lay up in the CRP and just let him die. So like, I'm hanging for a while, see what happens. At least go get my arrow. My other arrow, by the way, is still stuck in the ground, knock on. So if you're ever worried about like, oh, I shot, I need to go get that, it's not going to, seriously, just leave your arrows. Don't worry about it. I get down. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back. I finally text with him, like, okay, I think I shot one. And it was, I think even the text was like, it's like a really good 6. And then I thought about it later. I'm like, I'm such a moron. I forgot to account for brow tines. It was a nice 8. It was like wide like this, but skinny.
Mm-hmm.
It was like one of those skinny, but like kind of wide racks. And so we went out to kind of take a look just to find the arrow where it broke off in the tree because I wanted to at least get a starting point for things. And there was no blood anywhere, no blood beyond the arrow. The broke off arrow had a bunch of blood on it. So I'm like, okay, we got to call a dog. So that's when I kind of did a little search. I got a hold of Scott Gagliano, Max's Deer Recovery. So Scott and Max and I went out that night. We walked around for like 4 hours. We did the same track like 4 times. That dog was awesome. Like trying to track where the deer was, I think it lived. And I think as we talked more, the angle that I shot from, and this is something to think about if you're someone that is from the school of like, I've got to be high. The higher in the tree, the better. Higher. That's not true. And I learned that lesson. The reason I was at the 20 I was because there was like this nice crotch in this tree that I was able to exactly use that as my cover. Mm-hmm. But it just put me above that line at that close of range that I think when that arrow hit, it deflected easily. So I don't know if it like just caught shoulder or just caught the rib right and deflected. I mean, it penetrated. We figured we measured my arrow, measured what was left. It penetrated like a foot in, but broke off. And I mean, fat, everything can plug it up. I mean, they're tough as hell. Mm-hmm. And the fact that we found no blood anywhere else, I'm confident that that deer survived. We couldn't keep going any farther, though, because it got to one point where it went onto a chunk of private land, which was owned by a trust with an address in Colorado.
Good luck.
Good luck.
So, exactly. So we kind of had to go, I guess, is the end of the road.
Yeah, but I'll say, though, it was so cool, though, because you guys have, like, your friend group that you're like, just shot a deer, all that. And it's just, it's such a high and such a low when it goes that way. Mm-hmm. But you texted me and another one of our buddies. I'm like, I'm leaving the house. I'll be there in 20 minutes. So we meet up, we go through the whole paces. And it was, how many times can you shoot a deer and you have zero blood?
It was the weirdest thing.
It was a really bizarre
happened
situation.
to my dad this year. My dad shot equal caliber buck, very different rack. The tines were almost touching. Like, it's good photos of it. It's actually one of those moments where like that's never happened before. We both have never gotten deer. And he called me. He's like, first of all, I don't know where my arrow went. Like, I didn't see it hit. He like blinked for that moment or blacked that part out or something. I was like, what do you mean you don't know where you hit it? Like, you hit it, but didn't you hit it? And he's like, well, I don't know. And then he'll say a whole sentence using the word I don't know, which is like impressive. And I know he listens, so he's probably rolling his eyes at me right now, or not right now. Well, right now when he listens.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm in a time warp. But anyway, they found it, but there wasn't strong blood at all. And what I've noticed, and Greg can speak to this too, is like these. You're using the expandable, but we're using these super sharp, like any iron will, the
is that what you guys
method
are
archery.
The big heavy.
I'm using the method.
So they're not big and heavy. The arrow is what you can build the arrow heavy. You weren't shooting a heavy arrow.
Oh, it's like 500.
I've done light and I've done heavy. I've had good results both ways.
Yeah.
Shoot which works best for you.
This isn't what I shot, but this is like an example.
I shoot the Mangus.
Okay.
Magnus, yep.
Yeah, Mangus. I shoot their broadheads.
Yep.
Oh.
Just their sharp.
Magnus is a great head.
So it's more than 100. 100 is this 200? 200 grain?
No, those are $125.
Wow, this one feels heavier. Feel that. It feels heavier than 125. No?
Yeah, I don't know.
You better get your wrist checked.
Maybe that's it. Wait,
this is my left hand.
That's not an 1/8 ounce or a quarter ounce jig head, okay?
See, there we go.
It's not tungsten. No, but
it's not tungsten.
But with those sharp arrows, we've heard the broadheads that like these deer, they don't. It's such a fine cut. Like the iron will is an example. I have a scar on my finger now from that.
Only you, buddy.
Their
no, not only.
Tagline is as sharp as science allows, but they're talking about like you get micro cuts at the molecular level or something.
I will say
it's too much for me.
It's ridiculously sharp, and if you're gonna take a broadhead on a once in a lifetime hunt, that's the head to take. No fail, very accurate, super sharp, extremely durable. You can get them anywhere from 100 all the way to 200 grains.
But then they're not bleeding as much as the expandables, right?
Not the volume, but the fact that it's so razor sharp. I mean, you do surgery with a scalpel, how much bleeding is going to occur? A lot. You throw something dull at it, it's going to be a jagged cut. It'll do damage. It'll make a bigger wound channel, but it may not bleed as good because you got all that extra stuff plugging things up.
Sure.
Yep.
You can dissect this and we can argue it all day long. Yeah. Shoot what works best for you, but you're doing the right thing by going, what happened here? You know, you're thinking through your mind, well, did I have the broadhead sharp enough? Was I too high in the tree? We've all been there as bow hunters. We've been there a bunch. I mean, I've got stories from being up way too high. Again, cover's up there. I need to be up in the cover, not so far down. Yeah. So I've taken shots at deer and hit them too high, killed them, watched them fall, but I like to see where the blood's going and how it bleeds. There's no freaking blood here, but I killed it. Yeah. It's there. I mean, it's laying over there.
As much as that sucked, the whole long part of, why I set the story up was, I don't think it was a failure. It was the lessons learned that I will take forward. Mm-hmm. And I can still hang my head high. Like, I had a chance at a really good buck, only really like hardcore bow hunting, 2 seasons.
Yeah, no, that's impressive, man.
I've put in the work, put in the time, all those things. Like, my wife always jokes. She's like, I can tell when it's hunting or fishing season because you're busy staring at maps. I am a map nerd. I am a map study nerd, constantly looking.
And that's what's cool about it, though. Like, me and my buddy were just talking about this the other day. You have an avionics app on your phone.
It's my best friend. It's always up on my phone.
Always up.
In fact, right now,
what are you looking at? Spartan Forge or Navionics? Well, today it's Spartan Forge, but I'm going fishing next weekend, so it'll be Navionics.
I just studying. Yeah. Oh, Lake Springfield. Maybe is that tournament one? Am I studying every chance I can, looking for little holes and
looking for those points, looking for the drop offs? Yeah, it's the same concept.
Google Earth is another underrated.
It's another good one.
Underrated.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, you keep doing all the work of scouting, sharpening broadheads, doing whatever it is. You can do everything right up to the point of the shot, and it's just a matter of catching a branch, or a tree, or
maybe we both hit trees this year.
I hit a tree. I hit a tree last year. Is what happened to me. And
but what I think is really cool about that, I don't know if it was you guys or if it was. I think you guys did a piece. I think you did a piece on it, Erik. That was the different stages of deer hunters and how.
There's too much ego in hunting, and I listed out the stages of hunting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know we've talked about it on our show too.
Because I'm by no means this guy that's only going to go out and shoot 180-inch deer, but I'd like to shoot a nice deer.
But even if you are that guy, that some people think that we're against that because, like, look at our logo,
Yeah,
right. But I'm like, well, no. Yeah, I want that too. And if that's where you're at, that's great. Like, but just
your tag, your hunt, celebrate.
Yeah, I
that's
just get caught up there. Yeah,
I'm happy for you. If you don't care, I'm happy for you too.
Yeah. And I think that's been really cool about, like, kind of me being I would say I'm a couple paces ahead of where Ritter is, just because I've got a number of small bucks that I've been able to harvest, and my
built up some confidence.
You're at a different spot in your journey than he is.
Yeah, and that's where I think that's why it was so cool for us to share both of our stories this year and just kind of go through all of that, because it was the right thing to happen for the stage of where we are, and it was like 3 years ago for me, where it was just making that shot, thinking you did everything right, and then not finding it.
For me.
And
that was luck.
It just
I'd rather be lucky than good.
At that time, absolutely.
Yeah. Everything that happened leading up to the shot wasn't luck. The shot was luck. Like, I foobarred the shot. I gangstered it because I had a limb in my way.
Oh, you did it sideways.
I had to. I've never practiced.
When he told me
like
that, I'm going, great. I'm on my way, I guess. But
break yourself, Buck.
Then I get a call. Dude, I found him. What? Yeah. He maybe went 40 yards. How was that possible?
That buck went about 10 yards and died 5 feet from my tree.
It did a big circle around and fell.
So moral is
gangster.
Yeah. Works 60% of the time. It works every time. Yeah, I nailed him in the femoral artery. I was confused that he was dead. I didn't understand.
Well, I talked to my dad. Realize it until I went and cut the tenderloins out. I'm like, dude, freaking inner loin's severed in half. And there's a femoral artery that's big around as your pinky in there, and it was completely clean.
It was a murder scene where that thing got shot. I mean, I was
razor sharp broadhead.
Yeah. Well, that was the QAD that I was using.
But that was razor sharp.
It's fresh out of the package.
Fresh out of the package, never passed through foam or anything.
So a comment here I had on the screen a second ago. He says, Facebook user means it's just coming from our Shooter Buck Club page, because I don't know why it does that. But he says, my buck was a very steep angle from 5 yards. Arrow didn't pass through, and there was no blood. I was hunting high grass areas, so I watched him fall 100 yards away. But if I had been hunting thick cover, who knows if I would have gotten him.
Man. thick grass like that.
Yeah. And there's ways around it, but you got to build for it. And if you're building to be able to get a clear shot from up above, you can do a lot with a little. But if you're going to be on the ground and trying to shoot through heavy cover, heavier arrow, a wider profile broadhead that can pass through things without being deflected and levering around, you got to build for your conditions.
Yeah. All the lessons to be learned.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of the journey.
Still going way the hell up in a tree.
But some trees you might have to. Like I was hunting with Derek this past season, and he put me pretty high up in a tree to get over all this that's
the other thing you got to look at too
Yeah.
is what's your ground cover like, and if your understory is really thick, and the only way you're getting into it, like where I hunt some of the cattail stuff or some of that ragweed crap, I have to get higher up and move very little so I don't get picked off, because a deer down there can easily skyline me.
Yep.
Without any cover back there.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
It's all
there's a
conditional.
lot of variables. That's the other thing. There's so many schools of thought. There's so many ways to do things. And if you go all the way back to when people did things a long time ago, you didn't need much. So these arguments, they're just micrometers, in the grand scheme of things.
We just overthink things now because we have access to everything.
It's an information age, man.
Yeah.
I am like the worst person for like hunting product sponsorships, because I am the person that says like you can do with nothing. Like I have no, legitimately, I hunt in waders. I have my old duck hunting waders that I hunt in, mainly because I can walk through anything, anywhere, anytime.
You like having swamp ass?
Yeah, it's all right. You deal with it. You just smell a little.
Shower when you get home.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Sorry.
But like I use my old waders, and like I dress in the tree like layer by layer when I get there. So like I basically just reusing all stuff I have. Like, I would be the guys who would wear flannel out in the woods and just not care. So
it can be done.
It's like the guys that we kind of joke about them from time to time on social media of like you can only kill a buck if you have Sitka. I mean. If that's what you like,
I have opinions and thoughts about Sitka, and
if that's what you like, good for you. I'm not saying it's bad either way, but
if that's what gets you outside and helps you, like that, there's nothing wrong with most of it. And even I would argue as an OKS hunter, we need everything we can in our favor.
Yeah.
So like,
what I say is whatever makes you comfortable,
right.
Whatever fits within your budget to get you outside.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a millionaire wearing Sitka or a guy just getting into hunting and all you have is a pair of khaki pants and a flannel. If the weather's right and you're comfortable in it and you can sit down, shut up, and be still, you can kill deer out of it.
When you show me merino wool, that another, I'll say the game-changing word again, but that
changer.
That I should get
Merino
an audio
is
bumper
nice.
for that. Merino wool was a big one. So I thought like the underlayers matter, and beyond that, who cares what you stack on top of
Honestly,
Right.
that's what I say. The base layer is the most
Base
important.
layers are the most
I
important.
run the Under Armour 4.0 base layer, and that's where it starts. Most of the days this year walking out, I walked out in just my base layer top.
We could have hunted opening day in shorts and a short sleeve shirt.
I went to
75
Cabela's to get a
degrees.
long sleeve T-shirt to hunt in that day because it was like 80 degrees.
Did you find anything there? They have not
much.
No.
I think it was like $6 for a shirt, a long sleeve shirt, and it was going to be good enough to get through. And actually, the pants that I wore, this is hilarious. I want to say it was lightweight enough. I actually had an old pair of like green like chinos from Target.
I don't know what a chino is, but
It works.
Like dress pants. Like think like
Oh,
khakis.
okay.
Khaki
They're like
kinda-
green
Got it.
khakis.
Some
that
slacks.
I had never
they're
worn.
fancy, though,
My
'cause
wife
they're
had got them
chinos.
from Target, and so that's what I wore. I wore a pair of Target green chinos
green chinos.
and long.
this is getting clipped and put on TikTok. I'm just going to tell you now.
Absolutely.
It's at about 49 minutes in.
my chinos to go kill us a deer.
But the point is, you can do it in anything. Just get outside and experience it and enjoy it and
I
enjoy
remember
sharing the stories.
I had my first podcast. If you go back far enough in the archives, you'll see that the first one I ever did with I cannot get words out of my mouth right now. Words are hard. Was with Jared Scheffler with Whitetail Adrenaline, and he had said like at one point he got really into wearing this camo and doing that stuff and doing the self filming, and then he just wasn't having too much success doing much of that.
Yeah.
His car broke down one day. So he's wearing jeans, some t-shirt, and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to fix this right now. Anyways, what's the damn deal? I smell like oil and gas. He walked out to the woods and had a shot at one of the biggest bucks he ever seen in his entire life. And he said it was at that moment that he realized, I don't need to do half of this crap. I just got to get better at like reading the sign, and and now the guy can play chess with these deer.
It's a comfort thing for sure, though. Whatever makes you feel
Yep.
good, and if it's getting new camo.
Oh, I got
every year
First
or
Light boxers
whatever,
now.
it's
I'm pretty happy about that. You want to talk about
happy about that?
like you want to talk about what feels good?
I mean,
First
that
Light
feels
boxers
good.
feel really good on your boys.
Anyone wants to give me anything like that, I will absolutely wear it. Like there was one company that reached out to us that we were supposed to be involved in helping them in development of some of their stuff.
Yeah,
for hunting, and we won't say who that is because
maybe it'll still happen someday.
that's just it. Like I'm not going to say anything until it does happen.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was, and it's actually a Wisconsin-based company. That's all I'll say. Might even be
I know all the Wisconsin-based ones. I'm not going to guess out loud, but
We'll tell you afterwards.
It might not be one
Fair
that
enough.
you would think of, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You never know.
Oh, they're blowing up now. Whatever.
We'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. But yeah.
It doesn't matter now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you give me something, I'll wear it. Like I'm that, and I'll give an honest opinion of anything. But
Yeah, it's got to have the chops. Like it can't be something that can't. You got to like it. So like everyone that we work, we rattle off all those sponsors. Like a lot of these companies are local to us, or we're friends with the owners to some degree.
Yeah.
Like we know, like, and trust them, and enjoy working with them in a capacity that's far beyond just the product itself. But
Sure.
we trust the product.
that's what it's all about.
And being able to have that line of communication, like when I lost an arrow 3 days before I shot that buck, formerly Vector, now Method Archery,
That was ridiculous.
they drove here the same day and brought me broadheads. They're like, go kill your buck on Saturday, and I did.
Mhm.
And like
Love that.
I was like,
What a story.
what am I gonna do? I don't have broadheads right now that are gonna work with this setup, and they know my
Yeah,
setup
he's
because
calling
they,
me. I'm like, well, dude, I can pull a couple out of my archives and sharpen them up. And
Right.
Not
because
where I thought you were pulling them.
yeah,
Pull them
well,
out of my archive.
my archive. Yeah. That's
but
right.
it's like they know my setup. To this day, I still don't know my poundage. I don't know my draw
But it
length.
kills deer.
It's
That's
60.
what matters.
It's accurate. It's comfortable.
I
I'm
only
confident.
know the
kills
sound
deer.
it makes when it kills deer.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a good one, Greg. I don't know anything about it. I just know the sound it makes when it.
That's another one that always gets me in the archery hunting world. Is I feel sometimes it becomes a strength contest.
Sure.
Of
Yeah, how
who's
many
got-
pounds can
Yeah,
you pull back?
who's got the heaviest?
Well, I actually can't pull that bow back. That just showed up today, and I can't pull it back. So it's gonna we're gonna make a whole
It's like
contest
the
series
sword
out
and
of
the
that.
stone. Whoever can pull it back will hunt
Is
with
it
it.
what pound is it?
I don't know what
I
that
haven't
is.
looked at it that close.
Too much.
Eric
You ever
Tasker will do
release-
it.
It's too much for me.
Eric Tasker. will
I'm
do it.
actually
pull
thinking
that
like there might be
sucker back.
something installed in that is not
Yeah, there
allowing
might be
me
a
to.
stop
There's
in
like
there.
a straight cam lock. You can't
Yeah,
even do it.
yeah.
Something's
There's a
happening.
bolt through it somewhere.
It's the new Bear permanent cam lock.
Good.
It's coming out at ATA next year. You're
Yes,
just hearing
right.
about it here first.
Yep.
That is
This
the
is very experimental.
Legend XR. I shot the Adapt, the Legend XR, and I forget the one above that one. And that's what I like. That's what I'm gonna be shooting this coming season.
Yeah,
so
because you shot every bow at ATA.
I
shot quite a
gotta
few.
feel this. Sorry, I just gotta look at it.
yeah, it's nice. It feels good. I really like
That's
shooting that
good.
bow.
So how are you going to get? Well, so do you think that it's actually just too high a poundage, or
I don't know. I just got like it
I'll
literally
let you
showed up
know.
today. I took it out of the
You've got
box,
a
tried to pull it
release, I'll try
back.
and pull that
Please
sucker
don't
back.
break
Well-
stuff, Greg.
I won't.
It
I just
is-
need to.
Okay, so it's not more than 70 pounds
No,
because it's 70 pound limbs, so it's not more than 70.
Well,
it's
and-
probably set at 70.
and
there
it's
something-
bottomed out, so it's at 70.
It's at
What is
70.
this?
That's a limb stop.
Yeah.
Or that's a cam stop.
So there is. So it's not just me.
Well, no, it's
I'm not
That's
a
just
weak
so
ass.
You can't go.
When I say weak ass, you say.
Yeah. 59 pounds. I fully admit that all the time. 59 pounds is what I pull. Why? Because I can pull it back anytime. Doesn't matter how I feel, where I am, and I can hold it forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here
Oh,
it's.
hell.
70.
Oh yeah.
One finger,
Getting
huh?
after it.
So I was just being a little bitch.
I was waiting for him to dry fire it. This thing just showed today.
Guys,
It blew up.
I
he
guess
actually
shoots 800
shoots
arrows.
something just barely legal shooting weight. It's he's been pulling 45 pounds all these years.
It's so easy. I'm just like, hey, dear. No big deal. I'm just
This
smiling.
actually was not that bad to yank back.
It, and I just lightly touched it. I was
Yeah.
like,
You
I
said
feel
that's a
good.
strength thing. I'm
Very
not trying to be
much
like, oh yeah,
No,
Randy
I-
Savage got you. Like I'm not. Yeah.
Shirt off
Snap it to a
afterwards.
bare bow.
When I pull my bow
man.
back, my shirt rips.
Snap
Like,
into
come
my
on.
shoulder.
Yeah,
I think I just blew a bicep.
There you
that's
go.
great.
Anyway, you might not be able to get it back to lean up there. It's quite the task.
That thing's
I
falling down.
am
a task
We're
for
gonna test
Tasker.
its durability right now.
I am a
Very
pro
nervous
at
about that.
leaning up and setting up things
Oh,
for.
Jesus.
There we go.
That's
But
what
the
you said
bear
now.
is right by
Marketing.
bear. Do you see how this works?
Yeah.
I do like that.
Derek drew that. He's an impressive artist.
So what impressed me the most is like the marketing aspect of things in the studio here.
Oh, your corner is on fire.
Yeah, and I am all about
laid out.
marketing and was this the weathered oak calls?
It is. Yeah, that's got the OKest Hunter logo on them. It might need to get sanded down a little bit, but
yeah, a little bit.
Okay, this is good. It's not just me. We got the new buck grunt tubes coming out. You want to grab that bad boy? Can you reach it without tangling yourself?
Yeah.
So these are coming with us to the trade shows. You got to hold it on a little bit.
Now it's broken.
No.
It's
pretty. It's pretty durable.
So we got two colors of these coming out to trade show.
This is like outdoors Disneyland.
So
another way to get sponsors mentioned. This is
Weathered Oaks hand spun that.
I like that.
So the guy that makes those, he's actually my co-host on the Fishing podcast. So
it sounded pretty weird out of the gate.
I know.
He had a lot of back pressure.
It took a while to get the break break.
It's not a donkey call.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a swamp donkey call.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a deer caller.
Yeah, well, I'm not either.
But it looks
sharp.
The ones he's doing for us now look way better than this one.
Well, it's different
like
wood.
This mixed wood. It's really cool.
It's a two-tone walnut that he's got.
I love any of the hand-tuned, hand-turned down calls.
Yeah. Matt
like that.
hand tunes all those.
They look sharp.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And there's something great about the craftsmanship. And again, you're going to enjoy your experience with a product like that. I feel
that's how you call a shooter buck right there.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
What other sponsors should we mention here and get in here? What do you guys got?
We don't have
I think that's about it.
I could hang a saddle from here if you want.
I thought I'd make sure we get everything cleared. So
we could pull up Spartan Forge.
Spotted Fawn Artistry over there. There you go.
Yeah, that's Derek. I think his
you
wife
too
took
can
that
adopt a fawn.
You do can adopt a fawn.
In the arms of the angel.
Oh Lord. It's a good thing he announces the music, not sings the music.
Yeah.
You know, the people that are listening to this are going to have no clue what the hell is going on in here.
No idea.
That's fine.
No, I love it. And it's just
Tony Cordero, who's a regular here, First Light Boxers work. I would have to agree. Greg turned me on to them. Well, he didn't turn me on.
Make sure you clip that correctly, though.
But
I might have.
I'll put
you do you, boo.
Yeah,
I let him borrow mine. I flipped him inside out.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So since we're talking about some of these guys, so with Method Archery, is this the send me your setup, we'll build you a custom arrow?
Correct.
And you went through all
you
of the
plunk in
pieces
your
with
bow specs, your make, your model, your draw length,
Do you know
all
how many
your
phone
stuff.
calls I got while we were doing this, by the way?
For what?
A lot.
Right now?
Yeah.
So what's my draw length?
Oh, I'm asking him, yeah, because I'm like,
How
Greg,
much
I
do
don't
I
know.
shoot? Okay, bye. I get a text message. What model bow do I? Seriously.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, Lord.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Well, that's
Let's
why
get
you're
this
there.
figured out. Yeah, that's why I'm here, man.
Should we have that conversation? Because that's always,
Greg's got my back.
That's always an argument. What bows do you guys shoot?
I have an older Matthews Halon 32.
Oh, man.
And
See,
But
that's what always happens.
But I bought that bow. That was my first brand new bow. Otherwise, I had two used Matthews before that. I had a Feather Max from way back in the 90s. I might be dating myself there. But that bow was a year old when I got it.
Yeah.
And I shot my first deer with it. And then I gave up on that after I took it to another archery shop, not local to here, and they screwed it up. And I never could get it to shoot right. So I sold it and then bought a
It's not
Adrenaline.
your problem anymore.
Right. Not my problem. Have fun.
I love that.
That's always smiling. That seems like your problem.
But then I bought a used Adrenaline, and that bow was slick. I shot a ton of deer with that thing.
Yeah.
And then, that thing was used. It needed a string. I got a pretty decent trade-in value on it, and went on to a Halon 32. And I like that bow. I shoot it well, even though I drop-tuned it on the basement floor, and it hasn't shot right quite since.
Well, it's another one of those that we're going to send off and not be our problem.
What I ended up doing was getting a new cam for it.
Okay.
So it's got a new cam, new cables, and all that stuff. My archery shop took care of me on that and turned it around real quick.
Isn't it great to have an archery shop you work with?
Yep.
That's always
guys that you trust that never steer you wrong.
The day before we left for vacation this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is an okayest moment. I hadn't gone hunting for a while.
I'm sorry. I just get. You guys are missing.
What do we got going
I'm not doing a good job of displaying the stuff on the screen. We've changed the format a little bit here.
Okay.
So, warm balls kill deer.
do.
We were
Yes.
talking about
That's
the
right.
first
I
line
love
boxers.
it.
I also
Not about
found this
Tony.
new button that I have that can. Apparently, I'm selling hats as we sit here. So if you just pay attention to the
saw
screen
that,
for
yeah.
2 seconds,
That's-
it's a new feature that I
Yeah.
didn't realize we
Like
could.
that little QR code.
Yeah, there it is.
See,
Not
like
bad.
we've got like the professional stuff at our show, but we don't do the live portion.
We don't
like
do
this.
any of that stuff.
Yeah,
it's-
so because
it's-
we record for
I'm
radio.
overstimulated.
Yeah, this is
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
Shiny
this-
thing going on.
Yeah.
this like I'm excited. I want to do this because this is like my world. I'm
That'd
like
be
the
cool,
tech nerd.
yeah.
That
He's
I'm
a kid
like,
with ADD.
Well, then you can help me
Look at
set up
that.
all the new shit when it shows up
All
like
right.
tomorrow or
I
whatever.
see
Alright.
all these rangefinders. I'm like, what's going on
I
here?
wanna
You had a
try
story.
that
You had a
one.
story, and I disrupted it.
Oh
I'm
no,
sorry.
that's okay. So I
See?
went and I hadn't hunted for a while, and I hadn't shot my bow for like 2 weeks before I was getting ready to go.
You haven't shot your bow
Oh,
for 2 weeks.
God, I love
I
this
know.
one. This is a
I mean,
great
like,
story.
I haven't shot my bow since I killed my buck.
Oh no, not currently. This is before we left for rec.
Got it. Okay.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna just shoot maybe 20 arrows or whatever at the range. It was outside. It was at like the Lanning Quarry, whatever.
I know
They've
where
got
that is.
big-
Yeah, they got that. Yeah, they got the straw
gorgeous-
bales. I love
yeah.
shooting that kind of stuff.
So I go there. There are a couple other guys there. It's pretty windy, and I'm like, well, this would be perfect. You know, it's probably ideal conditions to actually make sure things are working right. And it's like 5 o'clock the day before we're getting ready to leave. Okay.
I like how he's.
So I shoot a couple arrows, and I had a couple that hit the target, not where I wanted them to hit the target. I had a couple that missed the target.
Oh shit!
Mm.
I'm like, what?
Did
in
you
the
get
hell
those
is
back
happening?
or no?
Yeah, fortunately, I found
Okay.
all of them.
Then you
That's not
start
always the
get
case.
second guessing, and then you go, "Wow, I should get closer and just see how bad we really are at 10 yards."
Well, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't understand why my arrows are flying the way that they are.
Mm.
I mean, huge pinwheels and just
Big
all
nasty tail whip
Oh,
before they
just-
impact. Yeah,
sorts of
Ranfrick calls that a
nasty stuff.
Twizzler.
yeah.
It-
Yeah.
it
I
was
got some
not
of those
good.
in my garage.
So here I'm panicking, and I'm thinking, all right, well, I don't really want to drive to Pewaukee and make sure that things are like tuned up and actually go shoot indoor and do all that. And if something's wrong, I can have them fix it right away.
Yeah.
I got a panicked phone call. What should I do? This is not
So
good.
you're his Greg. You guys are like, this is a pretty good
This
dynamic
is
we got
good,
going on
yeah,
here, guys.
I like this. I'm glad we sat the way that we did.
I said, dude, make the trip. If you think
You're just
something's
gonna
wrong,
feel so much better.
go to the shop,
Yeah.
shoot it in there.
This is
That does-
exactly
that
what you told me.
Yeah. Dude goes and gets slapped in the face by his peep sight rubber, pulling off his snakeskin and getting slapped in the face. Slices his finger open, sends one over a buck's
no.
back. Dude, what should I do? Should I just continue hunting? I think I'm just going to, what do you, no, you're not doing that. Because then I'm going to get a phone call and we got to trail something all the way across Waukesha County. I don't think so. You're done. I'm making the call.
Shut it
This,
down.
this isn't even a judgment call,
Call
pal.
the pen. Bring in the
Yeah.
righty.
You're done.
Well, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have got that buck. So
Yeah.
it was the right
So
call.
off he went.
So I went to the archery shop. I shot 3 through.
You went
the
to Buck
paper
Rub,
tube.
I take it. You're talking about
Yeah.
Pewaukee.
That's
Okay.
one of
Yep.
our title sponsors, one of our good partners.
And I go in there, I shoot 13, and the guy's like, I don't understand what your issue is.
Yeah, paper tune doesn't tell it all.
So I go to the range.
You got to get a DNA test.
Just wait.
You got to bring your bow on Maury.
You are not the father.
So I go into the range and I shoot a couple at 30 yards. I shoot a couple at 40 yards. Everything's flying right.
Mm.
I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on here. So I go in.
You
I'm
got some
talking
target
to-
panic? Like, what's going on? Yeah.
Hang
The
on.
fucking wind was blowing my arrows everywhere.
It's a great day to test it out, man.
I don't know who it was in the shop, but
I
asked him,
almost
goes,
didn't tell him what
That's the
happened.
opposite problem. Like,
It was
it's
so
not going, and you get
He
there, you're
did.
like, oh, everything's working fine,
that was the second phone call. Then was I don't really want to tell you this, but
But I have to tell
I
you
have to
this.
tell you this. And he's like, they asked me, where were you shooting? And I was telling him and explaining things. And he's like, well, like how
The
was it
open
outside? And he
plains.
goes, I mean, it was like windy. 3, 2. Oh,
Light
I'm
bulb.
so embarrassed.
well, I wouldn't have considered that either, though, honestly. We're in the same boat.
Yeah,
you know?
and
Okayest
I
moment.
just- Yeah, I felt like such an idiot, and I was like, well, I can't leave and not give an explanation for what happened and what we found
Yeah.
out in this whole scenario. So I'm like, I'm just gonna fess up. I'm just gonna tell you right off. the
I
bat.
would
I'm
too.
an idiot.
Well, we all have those moments. We're all going to be.
It's easy to second, third, fourth, and fifth guess yourself,
and
that's what gets you in trouble.
Well, when you're shooting so good, and I'm thinking, I don't know, did
I bump something?
But did you? Here's another thing. Did you actually go up 10 yards from the target and shoot, or did you go? No. I'm going to go back because everything's got to be fine. That's where I catch myself. All right, time to make sure everything is square, plumb, and right on.
Yeah.
You go 10 yards and you're hitting square.
Yeah.
And right on.
I didn't do that. I went right to the archery.
So now you know.
I drove an hour.
You drove an hour and a half.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
Archer.
You guys love all these stories and all this. What's
coming out? This is part about
you guys are gonna have to become a regular.
Welcome
guest.
to our show. This is exactly what our show is.
Well, we didn't have a game plan at all, and here we are.
It's just it's BSing, and I'm sure you can relate to those moments and those stories that you've been there or know someone that's been there, and that's what's great is when you are in that moment. In hearing us tell it, then you don't have to feel so bad. Be like, oh, like you say, I didn't want to make a call. Like you've been there and be like, oh, that's normal. We've all been here. It's all part of our journey.
Nice deer, but also be an idiot.
Okayest hunter is synonymous with
I'm not gonna name
relatability.
names.
Like,
listen, I've also had an okayest fisher moment. Like I had a tournament. I had a tournament this last year that. Man, if I could change a lot of stuff that day, it's on my YouTube channel, and I shared it with all the mistakes. I straight up lost that tournament.
So, do you guys have an Okayest Fisher date set up for him to come on and chat?
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Greg is in charge of running that guest lineup. He's doing it. So you talk to him, and
there's things coming up. Let me tell you, there's all sorts of things coming up.
We should go out on his boat on the big lake and catch some big coho and salmon.
Yeah, I was a mate for a while. Fun fact about me back in
really?
the day.
See, there you go. He'd actually know. Yeah. I just get the fuck out of the way and I just do what he tells me to do.
Fish on.
Hold that steering wheel that way. Keep your eyes on the horizon. Like whatever you say, Greg.
Keep her straight.
Yeah, just hold that heading. All right.
I don't need my dipsy rods twisting up. You always get some wild.
Yeah, you hate to cross dipsy rods. You don't want to play dummy sticks out at sea.
Right.
No, it gets really tricky when you start double stacking. How many riggers do you have?
I only have two. That's a 19-foot walleye boat.
All right. I used to run it. The big boats, you're running.
Yeah, you're stacking. I can stack. I have the stuff to do it.
You're double stacking, running dipsies. Running your out
less is more. I mean, with kings, if you're trying to chase big kings, less is always more. Here it's become a fishing podcast. You're welcome.
Hey, this is another plug for Okayest Fisher.
Do it in a kayak. We had on our show Nick Van Gompel, who won
the SAR.
He won the one. Which fun fact, he's actually my tournament director for the kayak series. I fish. Did it in a kayak.
Do you follow Bailey Egbert?
Yeah.
I work with Bailey. Yeah. So we talk every day.
Bailey's a beast.
Bailey he's a beast at work. He's a beast in the kayak. He's just a fucking beast.
I don't know how he does it. And also, I don't know how he has two giant freaking screens. Like, he sees my kayak with, like, my big screen. And the first time we went out of the water together, he's like, dude, I can read your screen from across the lake.
Like, and I'm 30 feet away from him in the water. And I'm like, I see where the fish are.
And he's got, like, two. And I'm like,
you got one right below your rigger ball, right there.
Yeah. I actually that same day I did it to him. I go, oh, you want to see something fun? I got one right here. Boop, drop a drop shot. Boop, fish on.
It's wild.
We had a lot of fun in Canada together too this past year.
Yeah.
I was actually just today going through, finally editing some of that footage. I didn't like myself on that trip. I was very cocky. I was realizing because there was a lot of moments where I was like, because it was myself, Tasker, another friend of mine, Brad.
That's a good. You have some self-awareness.
Smallmouth guy that I am. Like I'm in there, and
So you're not a smallmouth guy. Sounds like you're a big mouth guy.
So I'm like, I'm running the motor, doing everything. We're fishing.
Come here.
We're fishing reefs and stuff, and I'm going. You guys want to see something? Ready, set, boom! One hand is just like ripping it, pulling in, like flipping it. I'm like, I look like an idiot. I don't know if I want to show anybody that.
Did
you? You must have read my article twice about ego. I read that book, Ego is the Enemy, 7 times in the last 2 years, and
I was just having fun.
It's seeped in
up there. That's. I mean, they're dumb fish and it's fun. And it was where we talked to Jeff Gustafson.
Okay.
About this because he's from Kenora.
Yeah, he's one of our at work. I work on the X2 account.
Humminbird, and X2,
yeah, and Humminbird too. But I'm not on that stuff, so I don't know.
Gusty's awesome dude. So he was on with us. We were talking about because it was like 2 weeks after we came back. He was on talking with us, and I was telling him this stuff. He's like, I've never caught him down there. I'm like, we were catching them down there. It was weird.
Oh, man.
Those smallmouth are mixing in with walleyes on the top of reefs. It was like the weirdest thing. They shouldn't be there right now. This year,
I caught the biggest smallmouth in my life in the Boundary Water Canoe area. I was showing Derek last week. It looks like a damn alien. It looks like I'm holding a fucking NFL football.
Yeah.
But bigger. And
They're
'Cause
fun
it's-
though.
It made me feel like I
Love
actually
them.
knew what I was doing for half a second, and all I really did was drop wacky worm rigs up against rocks
When there's
and
a lot
shit.
of them, it makes it a lot.
When
more
they're
fun.
on, they will
It
probably
was fun,
hit anything.
and they fought
Yep,
hard,
but-
and yeah, we cooked them up though too. Like we didn't cook the big guy up, but
No, I'm just kidding.
we were trying to eat. Like we didn't have a lot of food actually, so like it was like a problem.
I will.
Survival of the fittest.
It was, like,
alone.
Guys, we gotta actually catch some fish. We're like not gonna have a lot of food tonight. And then we because we didn't know how this trip was gonna go. And then we get to the end and we had a surplus of food because we were like, oh, we made it.
Yeah.
The fish helped us, so we cooked up like barbecue venison spaghetti and
Oh, nice.
all this stuff. And then we ate like kings,
Well,
and it was great.
At least you weren't eating like MREs and like
Well,
Ramen noodle.
You can, everybody
Oil
has a
packets.
dehydrator. It's their oven, and anybody can dehydrate any meal
Yeah.
and then vacuum seal it and pack it up. That's what we did. It was venison for the whole trip, so we just had like barbecue mac and spaghetti and stew and like every hearty venison meal you could possibly stroganoff make, and that was what we did.
noodles.
But we never tested it. We just like did it, dehydrated it, packed it up, and then we went. We never decided if it was like going to function or not. So we reheat it. We're like, oh, this actually freaking works.
Nah, just send it.
Didn't know it's actually food safe. We may die on this trip.
It's fine.
Not
So that's
something
why
that
we're
happens
like,
with the food.
we got to eat all
Right.
these fish because you guys, I don't know about this venison situation.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Oh, I love it. So we've turned into a fishing podcast.
It's okay.
Excellent.
I got your back, Greg.
Mission
This is the
accomplished.
okayest podcast network now officially.
Yeah.
So,
Congrats on
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy right here. He's the first to jump into another
I'm
thing.
just a man.
Just a man with a beard that can do owl calls.
Right.
The dude is a dude. What do you always say?
I'm a dude playing a dude
Yeah,
disguised as another dude.
Tropic Thunder over here.
Yeah, well, seen that movie one too many times.
A real Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Just
Nah,
without the prison time.
not. Jesus, really?
I was, excuse, I was saying without all the
You're
cocaine.
gonna kill
but-
Shaun over here. Yeah, cocaine, man. It's cocaine.
It's a hell of a drug. Well, thanks, Frank. How do people find your guys? Because your guys' podcast, it's a podcast, but it's also like it's on iHeart. It's very different. If I search on iTunes, it's tricky.
Yeah,
you
you're
got to
not
help
gonna
us
find it.
out
We're
here.
because working with iHeartRadio, we're an iHeartRadio exclusive, so you're only going to find our podcast on the iHeartRadio.
How does that
app.
work out? Is that a good outcome for y'all, or do you
mean,
wish you were everywhere else,
When-
or what's the deal?
When iHeart's your employer,
You kind of got to do what they say.
yeah,
They're letting
do
use their
what they
studio.
do.
and they kind of own everything. So like, if I leave iHeart, they kind of
They
own
own all
of
that?
that.
Yeah. Then
So-
you gotta start over.
Which is fine. I've got another name of a new podcast that is in here already.
You're like
It's
me, you're
always
the
been-
domain hoarder.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. It's been here. I was like, I don't want to waste my good one on this, so this is where we went with Tailgate Talk. Not that but that's.
That's pretty good.
Same
I
one.
really
content.
like that one, so that's why that's.
I
the
mean,
same
I like
content.
it, but I've got another one that I like better too. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why it's exclusive in iHeartRadio. So you go to the iHeartRadio app, search out Tailgate Talk, or on our socials. We pretty much only do Instagram, and it's
Yeah.
I pretty much do the Instagram, and it's tough because like I've got my own personal stuff, my fishing stuff. I've got that. I've got like my station. I think I've got 6 Instagrams
That's a
that I
lot.
like manage.
It's too much.
It's a
It
lot.
gets confusing because
I
if you
need- I
sign
need
it
to
with one
hire
account, you're like it gets
Yep.
tangled.
Yeah, you need an intern for that.
I need that, but there's laws that you can't have interns. You got to pay them, and then there's that problem. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well-
we have I
You better sell the kayak.
ugh,
But
Never.
yeah, no,
we also have the show on 97
Through the game.
It's on the radio.
The
yes,
game.
on the
on
radio.
the radio as well on
Saturday mornings.
from
So if you're a
7
local
until 8
Wisconsinite,
Yes.
And
tune
Metro
in to
Milwaukee
that.
area.
But if with you have the iHeart app, you can hear
You
it
can-
live too, right?
Yep,
Listen to it
anytime.
anywhere.
Yep, search 97
Yes.
Games.
Let us know you want
Saturday
us back on that bad boy.
mornings. At on the
Yeah.
tailgate is the
Yeah.
Instagram.
On the
At
tailgate.
on the tailgate.
So that's our show Instagram.
I'm at the real Ritter,
And then
like as a
I'm
fishing reel. Get it, huh? RE.
You're Wisco
That's
bow
tricky.
hunter.
Ting.
bow hunting.
Ting.
Wisco
Ting.
Bow
That's a
Hunting
ting.
on Instagram and
Yeah,
You got the
it's
real
TikTok.
ting in there.
Ting.
Mine's all socials. It's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
YouTube channel. It's all
That's
at
too
the
much
real
for
Ritter.
me.
Was he saying Pam?
Pam? Pam?
Pam?
Shaun, I don't know that I've met a lot of other folks that talk about as fast as I do, and you definitely you might actually be more than me.
I am the guy that when there is ads to be cut that have a lot of copy, like
You can
they'll hand
just
like
He's
Spit it
got his
out.
80 mile an hour voice.
I
am
got
the
that
go-to
one.
guy. But here's the thing: I've always been told I enunciate. I will talk fast, but I enunciate.
Oh, I mumble, and my wife has told me that I've learned that I have a lisp.
Okay.
And I think it comes out the
Shouldn't
more I
call you a
drink.
cock salesman.
It's a real coxman. It's different.
Yeah,
Cock-
like that one
cock
that you just got
salesman.
this morning for our fishing trip.
For Ballards, that was about
It's-
40 seconds of copy.
I was gonna say it's normally for like a 30-second script, it's about 85-ish words, 85 to 90 words.
How much coffee do you drink in the morning?
And it was
All of it.
So I don't know if you've seen. I've
Red
actually
Squirrel?
got it on my socials. The whole Stanley Cup rage. I've got the OG Stanley, the original Stanley,
Oh, I did see this.
the
I showed someone
1.4
today.
liter Stanley. That's the OG.
You knocked down. I was like, oh, that probably hurt your knuckles, actually.
I knocked the cup on it because my Stanley Cup comes with a cup. I pretty much drink that whole Stanley in a day. Like
Oh,
I'll drink,
yeah, that's
I'll
how
drink
he
most
makes
of it in the
it
morning,
That's the manly Stanley.
and I'll finish it.
There's
after.
the next session. Next,
The
you want to get
manly-
manly? Get your Stanley.
yes.
Get the manly Stanley. You can have a Stanley or the manly Stanley.
There you go. Because
You're
there's a lot of
welcome.
bougie biatches.
My wife has one.
Yeah, my wife
so.
doesn't have one of those yet, but she's got a little station down here in the basement that she hasn't touched in since we had our third kid. But she was like spinning mugs for a minute.
Okay.
She's like putting epoxy on them, decorating them, making it all custom.
So
She had like
so you got a cricket.
she's got a cricket, she's got the mug spinner, she's fully equipped. We had like wood stain mugs.
Mhm.
We were rocking mugs for a while there. Now
So-
she's
The reason my wife has one is kind of like an under the table shithead moment, but it's my wife and she knows me. By the way, we all have great partners
Yep.
or people in our lives.
The elephant in
Mhm.
the room that we haven't really talked
It's
about.
Valentine's Day and we're here doing this. which
this
is
is
funny.
very true.
When we were putting together the dates, my wife's like,
I
whatever.
proposed on Valentine's Day and it didn't go well. I mean, she said yes, but it was a shit proposal.
It didn't go well.
Oh, that's a very
Well,
okay.
she
Do you wanna
was
hear-
here
that is the
before.
most okayest moment of my entire fucking life. Was that proposal?
So I bought a new truck back early
I saw
in
you.
January.
You got a Chevrolet.
No.
Oh
Ford.
wait,
Ford F-150.
oh, you did get the
SLT,
Ford one. That's
yeah.
right.
So I bought a new truck. My wife made the comment like, "Oh, you get a new truck, whatever." This
You didn't
and
get a
that.
Super Duty, did you?
XLT.
But
No,
not a
F-150.
super.
not a super
not a
duty.
Super
No, I'm not.
Duty.
I'm not super laying super.
He's
duty.
not super duty.
Extra large diaper.
But she made the comment about like I need to have the full passenger princess uniform with the Stanley
Or
Cup.
Stanley
So what did
Cup.
I do? Went up the next day and bought one, set up my cup holder, picked her up and said, "There you go. Now you're all set."
There you go.
Love that.
And she loves it. Actually, it's a decent cup. I'll give it to him. It's still not as good as my OG Stanley, the manly Stanley.
Those things are great. It's like the thermos,
Mhm.
tried and true.
And I've had two of them in my life. This is the second one, and I got this one back in.
You probably still have your first one somewhere. You probably just lost it.
Yeah.
There's no reason that it would
You know
ever
what?
stop functioning.
You know why I
Which
replaced it?
duck blind is it laying in?
Yeah.
The only reason I replaced it is because the seal, the top thing, the seal started going
Hmm.
to crap. And I was like, well, instead of ordering just like a new cap, really, I could just get a whole new one for,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
like,
logic took over.
yeah. And I was like, I'm going to order a new one. And then I've got a backup in case, or I need two. So yeah, I actually do still have the original that I got back when I was like 12.
That's freaking cool.
So
Yeah.
I'm just lucky if my wife takes a travel mug when she takes her coffee in the morning. She just raw dogs that sucker. She
With a
just-
coffee cup?
Oh, she just
puts it on
takes
the
a
dash?
normal coffee cup.
How often do
Oh
you
my-
clean the console
Right, oh
out
my
in her
God.
vehicle?
Honestly,
She's
if
a-
I'm
She's
there,
a real woman.
it's got to be worse than having toddlers.
oh, it is like I don't know. I love you, but I don't know if you're watching.
he doesn't know what camera look
Let's
at.
be
Somewhere around
honest.
here. I don't know where you
We're
are.
on
Coffee
this one here.
stains and Kleenex.
The red
buddy.
light will indicate which camera is on. Yeah.
You know it's true.
Yeah, it drives me crazy because I always ask her because we're actually at home on Mondays and Wednesday or Mondays and Fridays. So like I'm kind of around while she's getting ready and like, do you need any help taking anything out to the car? And she's like, no, I got it. And she's like got like 14
Carrying
bags,
everything.
and it's like just an open coffee mug.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Now,
we
see,
have enough
Recipe for
of them. We have
disaster.
enough of them.
That's my wife with like 3 mugs. She's got a mug for water. She's got a mug
Yes.
for her hot coffee.
Yeah, what's
in.
the
She-
deal?
She have like
Mine's
3
the
mugs,
same.
bag.
Mine-
It's, you know.
Water
Yeah.
bottle,
You can,
coffee. At least mine,
All the
everything's got
liquids.
lids, but
Yeah.
heaven forbid they don't.
Here's a Tony. I only have I only have a Stanley Cup because I like hockey, but I'll never win.
Oh,
one.
okay.
Oh, I see what's happening here.
Nice.
That was a
Yeah,
joke.
Yeah.
That's good.
A
Michael,
little slow on the uptake.
I can't say
here,
your last
Tony.
name
Don't take
properly,
offense.
Michael, but said
Should we try it?
anyone
I'd like
shed
to-
hunting at Derek found a shed already. He wasn't shed hunting,
You
but
found-
he found one.
You found a
I
couple
found
of
a skull.
a couple of skulls
Yeah,
already.
I got out. It must have been 3 weeks ago.
About that, yeah.
And it was a spot that I had bow hunted a couple times this past year for the first time. And I don't know, I didn't really know what to expect, but I wanted to just at least get out there. And I found an entire spinal column, spinal cord, spinal column.
Spinal column.
Nothing else though. No legs, no head, no anything.
It could have been something somebody dumped there. Who
Yeah,
knows?
That's what I'm kind of
Somebody's-
wondering on that
yeah,
one.
somebody's
And the fact that you found that one that was like it was definitely a buck skull.
And
with
then I
no
did find
antlers.
a buck skull, but it had already shed its antlers. So it actually,
Oh, that's interesting.
I was going to
Right.
bring that with
It could have got hit by a car and just.
I don't want that stinking
Who
here.
knows?
Yeah. Well, it didn't smell that bad. I'll have to.
Did you leave
I
it in
know
a
I've
plastic
got-
bag in a cooler in your basement for 8 months?
No, it's
Yeah, have you heard Derek's bear story?
no.
Yeah, it's a pretty
Not
gross
good.
one.
I think that's where I heard it from.
That one
Probably.
viral.
Was it a bear head that was put in a cooler?
Yeah,
in the
just a little
closet.
cooler? Yep,
Yeah.
that's where I heard that from.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
No.
I know that I've. And then I found like an entire, like, leg, no spine, but just legs, front, like all four. That was pretty cool.
You're finding stuff, but sheds are hard to find. The little ones are hard to find.
Yeah.
So we give a lot of props to the OKS hunters that find our logo out in the woods because
Yeah.
that's the real
a
trophy. Like it's easy to find the big ones. They stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, but
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you can
As
see
a
it.
shed buck.
yeah.
As a shed buck.
Shit, buck.
Give me that photo. I'll put them in. That's a new shirt design right there.
That
Shed
thing's-
buck.
Shed
That thing's
buck.
Shed
pretty
buck.
yellow, so that thing's been around for a little
It's been
while.
around,
Yeah.
That's a cool. I like the way that sounds. It rolls right off the tongue. Shed buck.
Shed buck.
I like that.
Gears are turning.
Here's our turn.
Hey,
This might be cool on a drop time.
royalties.
Yeah, everybody heard it here.
Ritter just bought a new domain
Manly
name.
Stanley will trade, okay?
Oh,
That's
man.
good. No, thanks for coming out, guys.
No, thanks for having
you
us,
know.
guys. We'll get together again. That's what's always fun about it is collaboration and getting together. And
Yeah. Well, the fact that you guys are local, we've been saying it for a long time. Just
Yeah.
We'll have you in, and here you are. It finally worked out.
You bet.
yeah, I'm like a half hour, which fun story. My wife and I crossed paths essentially. My wife works out here.
Oh,
She
great!
left here, drove home. I had to wait for her to get home for then me to just drive out here.
It's like a relay rally.
Pretty much,
Relay
yeah,
race.
yeah.
You should have just brought the little one and
Well,
dropped him off.
When time got close, I actually texted her, like, so you want me to just like pop by the office and drop the little guy off?
Yeah.
Because it's only like a mile up the road from your office. So-
No, this is my quiet time.
She
can't
needs that
do this.
Driving home.
You got to listen to her.
Mhm.
All these women are listening to these new books these days that are pretty
Audible.
All
scandalous.
these women are listening to these
No,
new books these
my-
days.
My wife is not that. No, she actually listened to like a lot of great. Like,
You know what I'm talking about?
motivational books.
Careful with that.
Yeah, that was. You're
There's a
about to go down the
scandalous
throat of,
author.
Like, banned books. Are you one of the like?
Yeah.
I feel like you're drawing along. You're towing a line there.
It's Valentine's Day. I'm sure they're all like they're happy we're not here. They're listening to their Audible books right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get home and be like,
Not
hey,
there
sweet
bothering.
Summerlin, let's listen to my book tonight. So
Hey,
Love
whatever gets the motor revved, you know what, and gets the garage ready to go.
There you go.
You're parking the car in it. That's all that
That's
matters. Whatever
Good
heats it
stuff.
up.
That's
well, and
That's
on that
cool, man.
note,
Yeah,
and
thanks for having us on.
enjoy your scandalous books. Thanks for tuning into the show. I'll play some music. We'll have a good night, everybody.
See ya.
Well, a good day, whatever. I'm not the only one drinking number 2 here.
There's a little
I don't have
flavor
to
in
try
there.
it.